Sabah everybody and welcome back to the channel. Yesterday I had the opportunity to check out the 5G implementation or Sprint's 5G implementation plans for the greater LA area with my buddy Juan Carlos Bagnell. As soon as we sat down for the presentation at the table, the first thing that jumped out at me is the fact that they had the Oneplus 7 Pro 5G. They also had the LG V50 ThinQ as well as of course the S10 Plus, the S10 Plus 5G. So they had a lot of devices, but this guy is the one that I actually got a chance to play with. But not only that, they also let me borrow it. So let's go ahead and talk about Sprint. Let's talk about their 5G network and how is it going to basically support this device in the greater LA area. This is TK. Let's check it out. First thing you'll notice obviously about the device is that the box itself says the 7 Pro 5G. For all intents and purposes, this is the 8256 model, and sorry for this little pink piece at the bottom here. For some reason, the IMEI is actually engraved on the back. It's a single SIM Sprint supporting LTE as well as of course 5G supporting device in the US. And again, this is the actual version that it was originally announced in Europe but is modified to work in the US with US carriers. So this is currently only supporting Sprint. It will be releasing and launched on Sprint very soon as far as the availability. And again, 8 gigs of RAM, 256 gigs of internal storage. Other than that, it's for the most part the same specifications that you get with your normal OnePlus 7 Pro, as far as basically the 90 Hz display, the QHD display, as well as of course the great software, the updates, everything. And I've basically been installed some on my applications, and we got a chance to play with it. Now, currently, unfortunately, you'll see right there, it does not say 5G in my area because at my home, I don't have 5G currently. But I do have the opportunity of going into all the greater LA area to be able to get the 5G signals. And we did do some speed tests, and just to kind of share with you guys exactly how it kind of went, let's go ahead and go here. As you'll notice, there's a few different speed tests that I was able to do on 5G as well as on LTE. So as far as 5G, the fastest I was able to get was 277. I was actually doing some of those while I was filming with Juan Carlos. And of course, as we went down to LTE, the best that we were able to get was around 80. So keep in mind, LTE is not slow. It's just depending on where you are, you're going to get a different connection. And we'll talk a little bit more about this because as you're looking at these numbers, you're probably thinking, TK, these are not that fast. Well, Sprint's implementation of 5G in the US is a little bit different, or at least in the Los Angeles area is a little bit different. They're not trying to go in and trying to provide us basically more like the fastest connection in a very short area, in a very small, isolated area. They're trying to provide us coverage for the greater LA area. So as far as the implementation that Sprint's taken in right now is their current approach is to upgrade existing towers that they're currently using, meaning existing 4G LTE towers that they're currently supporting all their existing customers in the LA area, and they're replacing parts of them to upgrade them to 5G, essentially taking out a 4G LTE node, replacing it with a 4G LTE/5G capable node. And because of the way they're doing that, so essentially is every time they replace it, they'll replace 3 different pieces, one on each side of the antenna. All of the radio antennas, if you notice them, they're really configured in a triangle shape. So to get the best maximum exposure, since they basically kind of have a dome shape radius as far as the coverage, when you put them in a triangle shape, you pretty much get 360 coverage around it. And in this situation, they don't have to worry about putting in new towers. So phones like the OnePlus 7 Pro as for 5G, as well as the LG V50 ThinQ, or even the S10 5G, and hopefully in the future the Note 10 5G, will get supported straight away very easily and start seeing 5G speeds. Now, the average speed that we were getting when we were doing speed test was around 277 for me. Actually, I did see I want to say the S10 5G getting as high as 400 and something. So you're able to get close to about maybe around 500 megabits. But the main thing that we want to keep in mind here is that the main thing they're focusing on here is coverage and basically market penetration. And what I mean by that is making it available for more people on a wider base. During our sit down, we had the opportunity to see a couple of obviously demos. One of them was basically playing the game called Hatch. Now, if you've never heard of Hatch, this is something that is very different because this is kind of like the Netflix of games. And the main benefits of the way this works, essentially it's not relying on your device or your internal hardware specifications. Everything is run basically over the internet on a 5G connection. And because of the low latency, you're not actually able to distinguish between it running locally or even remotely on your device. So that was a really good demo that we got a chance to see. The other demo that I had the opportunity to play with was essentially a 5G connected VR experience with one of their representatives sitting at the pier, at the Marina del Rey pier, which is approximately about a half a mile or so away from where we were, but the same demo was also done with the crew or the actual launch event that was done on the East Coast, which was in New York. And he was actually the gentleman I was talking to was standing there ever since 6 a.m. our time. So he's been there for a while. He's standing at the beach. Obviously, it's a beautiful scene. And the really good experience that they were trying to show us there is that they had a small HTC modem that was connecting me to him. So he was using that as a remote modem to connect his basically 360 4K camera, and I was able to basically converse with him over a consumer-based network where we're not running any kind of special hardware, and the conversation was actually pretty good. There was still a little bit of a latency there. Basically, as soon as I finish my conversation, there's approximately 3 to 4 seconds before he gets the entire conversation and he starts responding back. But keep in mind that this is definitely very a la Skype. You should be able to have a good conversation this way. And the fact that it was actually bi-directional transmission. So not only was it transmitting my conversation to him, it was also transmitting it back all on 5G, as well as transmitting a 4K feed in 360. So keep in mind all of that stuff. And the hardware that I'm showing you right now is pretty much what he was using on the actual beach, except that obviously this is more of a reference hardware for the people over on the East Coast. So since they were doing some demos there as well. The last thing they talked to us, of course, about is the implementation of what they wanted to do with 5G. 5G is not just necessarily a faster speed download test that you're getting on your phone. That's a great way to look at it, and that's the fastest way we always kind of see, okay, wow, this is really fast. But it's also the way they're also implementing it to actually get into the market in LA. Swapping out the existing antennas in the current phase is definitely the best way to start it. It gives access to both not only more bandwidth for people that are existing already on the network, but also gives you better network penetration coverage, access for people, as the radios that they're using are not in the long, higher range where they're actually shorter distance. They're also sitting around the 2.5 gigahertz and covering everybody there. And the extended plan, from what they told us essentially, is that they're going to add more 5G nodes as opposed to replacing existing ones, which means just augmenting the existing coverage that they have and giving you obviously much better, faster connections on your device. Speeds are supposed to get faster, as well as latency is supposed to get even lower. I got down as low as 13 millisecond, and that actually is really good for any kind of speed test that I've done. So for me, this is definitely a great implementation. The OnePlus 7 Pro 5G coming to the LA area is definitely very, very exciting. We're coming even to the US as a device, because for the most part, all we've had was the OnePlus 7 Pro, and of course the different variants and colors of that. We don't have the OnePlus 7, but now we have the OnePlus 7 Pro 5G coming in. Very, very nice. As far as the overall experience of what I saw there, I think Hatch is definitely a very nice implementation to demo it. There's going to be a gaming convention or conference going on this afternoon, all running on 5G. We got a chance to see a little bit of a sneak peek on that. They were playing some, basically some Fortnite gaming setup matches right there as we were walking out. So nothing was very finalized, but they were all running again on a consumer-based network on 5G. And that's really the main benefit, giving you access to fast network connection, but also a low latency network. It will always be very good. If you don't get the super fast 1.5, 1.6, 1.8 megabits down, that's something that you don't necessarily worry too much, because keep in mind, faster connection only really applies to where you have a connected server that gives you the same speed. So if you're downloading at 1.6 or 1.8 when you're doing a speed test, that's because the server you're connected to is able to transmit that information back and forth to you in that speed. Overall, very exciting. I want to say first and foremost, thanks to Juan Carlos Bagnell for helping me getting into this event and checking it out. The actual implementation is definitely starting to roll out. It is live right now. So if you have a 5G capable device on Sprint, you should be able to enjoy this. I'll give you guys a link in the description for more information as to find out about 5G and Sprint in the greater LA area, as well as some of the other areas they're covering. This is not the only one that they're doing. But it was very nice to spend some time with Juan Carlos. We did a podcast live right after on 5G on the LG V50 ThinQ, and I will link that to you guys. He streamed it over on Twitch. But I think overall, it was definitely an exciting day. We got a chance to check it out, and I'll have the OnePlus 7 Pro to play a little bit for the next few days. So if you have any questions, any comments, or anything regarding the 7 Pro 5G, please comment and leave them down there below the video. Other than that, thank you very much for the support. Like and subscribe as usual, and I will see you guys in the next video.